Elon Musk had always been a man of routine, preferring simplicity over the glitz and glamour of his billionaire status. Every night, at the same time, he stopped by a small 24-hour market, picking up a few essentials before heading home. But on this particular evening, something caught his attention. As he reached the checkout counter, he noticed an elderly woman, a store employee, finishing her shift. She clutched a small plastic bag tightly, exiting through the side door. Elon had seen her before, always leaving late at night, but tonight was different. Her tired eyes, hurried steps, and the way she held the bag as if it contained something precious made him pause. A strange feeling settled in his chest. Without fully understanding why, he decided to follow her. What he was about to discover would leave him speechless. 0037. But before we continue this incredible story, let us know where you're watching from. And if you enjoy powerful stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, we have another special story for you. Los Angeles at night had its own rhythm. During the day, the streets buzzed with energy, horns blaring, people rushing. But as darkness fell, the city settled into an eerie quiet. Distant sirens and the occasional footsteps echoed in the empty streets. Elon Musk never cared much for Hollywood glamour. Despite being one of the richest men in the world, he valued simplicity. He found comfort in routine, in small rituals that kept him grounded. His nightly visit to the 24-hour market was one of them. Usually, he would go unnoticed, picking up a bottle of water, a snack, or some fruit. Nothing extravagant, just the basics. He liked the feeling of blending in, experiencing life as just another person moving through the city. But tonight felt different. He had seen the woman before, a senior employee with graying hair and slightly crooked glasses. She always worked the night shift, stocking shelves, mopping floors, performing the same thankless tasks over and over again. He had never truly paid attention to her. Not out of indifference, but because she had simply become a familiar part of the store. Always there, always working. Until tonight. Something about her caught his eye. The way she walked slower than usual. The exhaustion etched into her posture. The sag of her shoulders, not just from fatigue, but from something deeper. Then, she walked out into the night. Elon paid for his groceries and left the store, expecting to forget the moment. But for some reason, he couldn't. His mind kept drifting back to the elderly woman, disappearing into the dark streets. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that this night was different. The next evening, he returned to the market at the same time as always. She was there again, working her usual shift. But this time, he truly noticed her. She stocked shelves with mechanical precision. She swept the floors with her head slightly lowered. And now, Elon saw the little things. The sigh she let out when she thought no one was watching. The subtle slump in her shoulders as the hours passed. Then, midnight struck. She picked up her small plastic bag, waved briefly to the cashier, and stepped out through the side door. Elon hesitated. He could have gone home as usual. But something inside him told him not to look away. So instead, he followed her. She walked with purpose. No hesitation, no pauses. Just a slow, steady pace through the streets of Los Angeles. At first, the city still felt familiar. Bright lights, open bars, passing taxis. But as she kept walking, everything changed. The wide avenues faded into narrow alleys. The bustling storefronts were replaced by buildings worn down by time. The comforting hum of traffic disappeared, replaced by silence. And still, she kept walking. Elon felt his chest tighten. This wasn't an ordinary commute. She wasn't heading home. She was surviving. After nearly 40 minutes, She finally stopped. Elon stayed hidden, watching as she approached a tiny, rusted trailer, parked near an empty lot. A single dim light flickered from inside. She hesitated at the door, took a deep breath, then stepped inside. Elon moved closer, peering through a small window. What he saw broke him. Inside, two small children sat on a thin mattress on the floor. There was almost nothing else, just a tiny table, some blankets, and fading wallpaper. The woman reached into her plastic bag and pulled out a single piece of bread and a small cup of soup. The children's eyes lit up with hunger. She carefully divided the food into smaller portions, enough to keep them from going to bed hungry, at least for tonight. And in that moment, Elon understood everything. She wasn't just an elderly woman working night shifts. She was fighting to keep these children alive. That night, Elon Musk couldn't sleep. The image of the woman sitting with her grandchildren, watching them eat while pretending she wasn't hungry herself, haunted him. He had seen poverty before. He had donated to charities, supported causes. But this wasn't a statistic. This was real. A woman he had walked past 100 times, someone ignored by the world, was out here sacrificing everything so that two children wouldn't go to bed starving. And no one knew. No one saw. The next day, Elon Musk took action. But he didn't just want to give her money. He wanted to change her life. After hours of searching, he found it. A modest home, fully furnished, in a safe neighborhood. No cameras, no publicity. Just a quiet solution for a woman who had spent her life working tirelessly, unnoticed. That night, he returned to the store. As she finished her shift, stepping out into the cold night air, Elon approached her gently. "Good evening, ma'am," he said softly. She looked up, startled. "Mr. Musk?" He smiled. "Just Elon." Then he handed her an envelope. "I don't mean to intrude, but I want to help." Her hands trembled as she unfolded the paper inside. She gasped. Her body shook. This is my home?" she whispered. Elon nodded. "Now, you have a home. A real home." Tears streamed down her face as she covered her mouth. She couldn't believe it. Elon placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to do this alone anymore." And for the first time in years, she believed it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful and inspiring stories that prove a single act of kindness can change everything.